So what I would like to do today is to kind of show you guys some of the free resources I have on my website for students and for teachers, and how I use them. In my case, I use them with an iPad and an Apple Pencil. You can always print out the PDFs and use them with paper and pencil, however you want to do it. But having them as PDFs makes it easy for me to create specific content for each student and then email it to them, and they can print it out at their end, which in the last year of Zoom teaching has been a huge help. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to head to the website. Ooh, trending is scary. So Jack's Guitar Tracks with an X.com. Here we are. On the site, which I'm in the process of redoing, there's our buddy Jack. We've got links to the YouTube channel with all of the lessons and backing tracks and gear stuff that we have. We have a link to our forum, which we've actually had going on since 2008. It's been kind of a long-lived community. I write articles on medium.com, which is kind of fun. That's kind of a new thing for me. There's our online store, because everyone's got to have an online store. Patreon, all this other stuff. But the part that we're really looking at today is the free PDFs. Now, the free PDFs, every lesson that we have on the channel. Let me back up for a second. If we go like some of these lessons here,
first guitar.
There's a PDF link, and it will take you to the website, and you can download that stuff. So all of those are still free. There's nothing to be charged there. But this is actually a set of general PDFs that I've got for you guys. The very first thing is this complete music paper and guitar paper pack. Now, one of the reasons why I'm making this video is because it's a shopping cart based idea here to get this stuff, and you're not paying anything. So I want to make sure you guys understand. When you add something like this to the cart, you can add whatever you want to the cart. You go to checkout. It's going to ask you for an email address. And the reason for that is it's going to send you a link to your files. But if you don't want that, you don't want to put your information in there, let's go joe@joeblow.com. Joe Blow, and that's all you got to do, because you'll see here when you complete the purchase, it's going to give you a link. You don't have to have anything emailed to you. It's just kind of nice if you want to. And it's going to download it for you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the link here. And what I've got here, this is a 7-page PDF. Within this PDF, we have standard notation paper, 5-line staff with 4 bar lines, or 4 bars per line. We've got it without, so you can put the bars in however you want to. I use this, and you'll see later in the video, I use this really to make chord charts really quick for my students. We also have 6-string guitar tablature with the bar lines and also without the bar lines. We have a page full of blank chord charts if you're writing out chord diagrams for yourself or for your students. And last but not least, we have 15 fret guitar necks, so you can actually work on the whole fretboard. I use these a lot of the time for teaching scales all over the fretboard, or even chord inversions, or anything where you need to see more than just what the chord grid is. The page has links to each of the individual pages in there if you don't want the whole thing. I don't know. Some people like that. That's why I added it. But the one other thing that's new here is the chord reference pack from Foundations for Guitar. That was my first book. The thing with this is that it's 4 pages of just chords. It's got open chords, it's got power chords, other movable chord shapes, bar chords, beginning jazz chords. And on the page here, what you also have is a list of lessons that go with these. If you are a student and you're trying to figure out how to use these things, or how to play them, or how to make them sound better, or just want to see someone physically play these, you can go through these lessons and they just take you right back to the YouTube channel. All right, and there you've got your playlist full lessons there. This is more about the scales and fretboard theory stuff. I've got a lot of lessons here for that. And I'm just adding some more specific chord voicing lessons. We've got one on power chords from last week. Next week's lesson is going to be on shell chord voicings and even smaller ways to comp through changes. And we've got some other things coming up here in the near future. They may or not be added here, but you'll always find them in playlists on the YouTube channel. What I'm going to do is kind of a little run through of how I use the PDFs, the free ones that are in the download section of jacksguitartracks.com, along with my iPad and the Apple Pencil when I'm teaching online. And right now I'm using Zoom. I've got two Zoom sessions set up between my computer, my desktop, and my laptop, just so we can kind of see what it looks like on the student and on the teacher end. We have a camera right here where my hand is. That is actually just where the iPad's at, so you can kind of see. As soon as I turn this on, it's going to get really dark. So the first thing is that we want to be able to share our iPad on the screen. And what I do is I hit share screen, okay, and then I choose iPhone or iPad with AirPlay, and I hit share. And then on the iPad, I have to come over here and do screen mirroring. And now the student has the screen of my iPad. When I change PDFs, it'll lose the connection. I don't know why that is. The app that I'm using is called PDF Expert. I've been using it for quite a while. And it's really not for any particular reason other than it's like the first one that I learned how to use. And it's what I got. But you can use just about any, you probably even do this with Acrobat. I just kind of like this because I'm used to it. So the first thing is like, hey, let's talk about chords. So I'm telling the student, hey, you know what? The first chord we're going to play here is going to be a D major chord. And on the screen, I'm going to write it out. Now, the nice thing is I like being able to color code stuff. All right, I also like the fact that I can make things really large and easy to see here. So this is a D major chord. The biggest drawback in all of this is my horrible handwriting. Maybe I'll use green for where you put your fingers on the fretboard, and then I'll use purple to say, hey, these are the notes we want to hear, and these are the fingering. And then, you know what, I really don't want to hear you play the 5th and 6th strings in this chord. All right, so there is your D major chord. All right. Now say we're working on scales or something where I need to use a whole guitar neck paper. This thing just keeps moving around on me. So I've got these guitar necks. I like doing using the cage system for root patterns. So I might do these in red so you can kind of really see where the roots are. And then typically with my students, we go by scale degrees when we're learning these things. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, and then there's a 7 down there. Sometimes we may want to isolate some notes, like in this case, let's go root 3, 5, and that shows us where the major arpeggio for the 1 chord is within the scale. It is really, really nice to be able to go through and color code everything on the fly. And then once we're done with this, I can always hit the 3 dots up here, and I can hit email. And when I do that, I can just email out to the students just a PDF that they can print at home or they can work on at home. Say I need to chart out a song really quick for the student, and I just need to make a chord chart, or we're just learning something kind of new. I've got both standard notation staff paper and tablature paper where they're set up either with no bar lines, or in the case of this, what we have in front of us, 4 bars per line. And what I can do, say we're learning a song, let's play, we'll do Brown Eyed Girl because it seems to be my favorite example lately. I can just crank through here and I go G, C, G, D. Those are the chords, right? I know what that is. It goes 4 times, same pattern, G, C, G, D. Here's the last one, G, C, G, D. And we'll put a little double bar line for the section there. And then here, C, D. And it really, in the lesson, it really saves me a lot of time and it keeps things organized and neater than what I would normally do on my own because of my horrendous handwritings. There's the end of the section there. And then maybe let's say, hey, you know what? This is the A section. This is the B section. And here's the verse. And here's the chorus. You can even hit it with some highlighter. Hey, you know what? Don't forget these parts. Yeah. Hey, there's a repeat sign here. Don't forget that. You know. And then I can play it and they can see it. One other nice thing that I'm able to do with this is I can take a PDF of maybe a student's homework, like this randomly, chosen piece of music from Bach that was on my hard drive. And I can say, hey, you know what? When you're working on this, maybe you're not catching an accidental here. All right, and then really pay attention to the dynamics. It's nice. I can go through all of this stuff and hey, you know what? Let's make sure that we phrase this melody. However you want to mark it up, it's nice. And then just like all the other assignments, you can just email it out, and then they've got a notated piece of music that doesn't affect their original sheet music, which may have to go back to the school or someone they borrowed it from, or they just don't want you writing all over their original homework. So it's really handy for this sort of thing too. So hopefully you'll see it's kind of nice having something like a tablet of any kind. My thing is I'm all Apple here, but there's equivalents in the PC world. I don't know about using Chromebooks and whatnot if you're teaching that way. But it's really nice because literally you can go completely paperless and then send the student via their email something to print, or you can print it out in your studio here if you're trying to work this way, and then just hand the student something to take home with them. That's highly organized.